Hey, and welcome back to After the Snap. It's me, Tasha Pierce, and today we will be doing another weekly wrap up of all the, pop cultural news that came out this week with kind of a little bit of an emphasis on a big announcement that happened. I believe it was Tuesday, but we're also going to touch on the Saturn Awards because, duh, and we're going to also talk about the new development in the Jonathan Majors saga. That saga continues. So we'll have a balanced conversation. And of course, whatever you guys want to discuss, thank you for being here. So yeah, this is gonna be another wild week of conversation, I think, because like I said, the main topic of our conversation today could have implications on the way that we digest streaming in the future. So if you're here and you have not yet done so, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you've not yet done so that you can sit down and have these conversations on a regular with me. I'm sipping tea because there may be tea to spill. But before we go deep into anything, I want to talk about the Super Bowl that is coming up. So the Super Bowl is the football's big game, and that's American football, not football all over the rest of the world. So American football's big game is coming up. That is this week. Oh, Win Grace. We're going to start with some bad news. Our Paramount offer has not yet been accepted. Maybe if we sweeten the deal a little bit. So today, if we get some more imaginary money to spend, then we will we'll be better part of the conversation. Because I think it's like, okay, it's just like last week. I think I was saying how I couldn't name any Taylor Swift songs. I can't. I don't know any. I like the young lady. She seems like a very sweet girl, and she seems to be very successful in music. So it's not like because I don't know who she is, she's irrelevant. I know who she is, but I don't know her music. I'm starting to find out that people are like that about Usher. Like, what? There are people truly saying that this year's Super Bowl halftime show is going to suck because they can't think of Usher songs that would fill a halftime performance. And I'm like, huh? You're not talking about the Usher Raymond, are you? Because he's got a huge catalog of songs that will be of interest specific, maybe to a specific community. But I really thought he was kind of pop. I didn't think he was specifically R&B. I thought he did venture off into the pop side of things. I'm going to name a couple of Usher songs, and you let me know if you have ever heard them. Uh-oh. Let me see. Because I'm confused. It's it can be Ursher. It could be Ursher. But that's like when we are really feeling ourselves, we say Ursher. Yeah, I think Usher has a lot of hits to offer. I don't want to look at that though. Um, oh my God, OMG. Does anybody remember that? I know everybody has to remember. Yeah, yeah. That's the one with Ludacris and Lil Jon. Yeah, my boo started when we were younger, you were mine. That's with Alicia Keys. Hey Daddy, that's a big one. DJ got us falling in love. That is the remix is with Beyonce and Lil Wayne. Or is that Love in the Club? No, that's Love in the Club. Um, yeah, I don't mind. You got it bad. Love in this club, like I said. Burn. Oh my gosh. Nice and slow. Confessions. There goes my baby. You make me wanna. Yeah, you okay. So what are we missing? He was also in a couple of fairly big movies. But we start thinking about Super Bowl. You really want the music. We want the music. I honestly think that this Super Bowl halftime show will be a pleasant surprise to some people who are unaware of what Usher has brought to music over, gosh, it's got to be 30 years. At the absolute least, it's been 30 years. I think it's been more than that. So yeah, y'all leave Usher alone. I think this is gonna be a good halftime show. Um, I'm less convinced this is going to be a good game. I honestly think that this is just my thoughts. Of course, I'm not a fan. I don't have a dog in this fight. But if you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes and you're relegating him to all he has to do, if the defense lives up to the reputation that it has, if that defense lives up to that reputation, all Patrick Mahomes would have to do is manage the game. And we know that he shows up in very big moments. So it's not like it's asking too much of him to just manage a game. But I think that we'll be, and of course, again, no dog in the fight. Don't get mad at me if you are a San Francisco 49ers fan. I'm just saying that Kansas City shows up in big moments. Patrick Mahomes shows out in big moments. And if he's forced to be nothing but a game manager, I think it's a lock that Taylor Swift will get her first Super Bowl ring. Oh, yeah. And look, I agree. He's more known than The Weeknd, I think. And it is no diss. It's no diss to The Weeknd. It's just saying that I think Usher, his catalog, his discography, if you will, is being forgotten. And I think he's going to remind us who he is during the Super Bowl halftime show. I also think that we're going to see some hell of a good commercials. Specifically, I'm looking forward to the Wolverine, not Wolverine, Deadpool 3 trailer. If rumors are correct, we will be getting our first real look at the Deadpool 3 trailer during the Super Bowl. I really hope that's true because I am excited for that movie. I'm excited to see uh Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman team up again and to actually get it done right. We saw them in what X-Men movie was that? The Wolverine? We saw them in Wolverine together, and I didn't particularly like the way they played the Deadpool character in Wolverine. We got an opportunity to get it right, and hopefully we do. Hey there. Hey, David. Hey, March. Are we talking about the halftime show? We were. Yeah, but you can add in. I'm excited for Usher. I'm excited for it. Um, David. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, David only knows Usher from film, so maybe I'm the one dismissing his filmography. Look, I know he was in some big movies, and there was one little kind of like alien movie when I was young that I liked him in. Now, hey, Clarence. Yeah, but again, Usher is R&B pop royalty. I think people are forgetting the huge hits that he's had since the 90s, and I think people will be pleasantly surprised. The Faculty, yes, I used to love that movie. I haven't seen it in years though. I don't own it or anything, so I haven't seen it in years. But I loved that movie, The Faculty. Um, Oh Lord, there's a promo film from Apple on YouTube that was cringe. Oh goodness. I guess that's not selling. That's not selling Usher to anybody, huh? Is you talking about you're talking about Usher, right? I'm sorry, I'm adjusting my clothing, y'all. But yeah. So that's our first little icebreaker. We also have another little icebreaker that I'm going to bring to you. Yes, Usher did do some acting as well. He sure did. And I'm glad you knew him more as a singer than an actor. All right. So, first little icebreaker. If you recite 80% of a movie and you will get $500,000, right? This is a hypothetical. I don't have 500,000, especially since we're trying to buy Paramount Global right now. So if you were able to recite 80% of a film and to win $500,000, which film would you choose? Now, I'm going to tell you, oh gosh, it was for Usher. I'm going to tell you nowadays, for me, the movie that I can recite almost 100% is Monsters Inc. You want to ask me why? That happens to be one of Ashton's executive producer, Ashton. Everybody knows Ashton. That happens to be one of Ashton's favorite movies. And by mean favorite, I mean we watch it at least daily, sometimes multiple times a day, and I can recite every word. Now, another one is as far as children's movies, because this is what my life has become. Coco and Encanto. I am fairly certain that I can do 80% of those movies to include the songs, to include singing and all of that, right? Then if I had to do something else, it would be Avengers Infinity War. I can probably quote that 90%. I would make that 500,000. If this were real, we would be that much closer to purchasing Paramount Global. Oh my goodness. Wigray says he picked one of the movies without dialogue. So nobody else is just uh fanatically memorizing movies the way I do. Oh, Clarence says the same thing. He remembers nothing. And Marge says 80% she could probably do Wrath of Khan. That's a good one. That's a good one. Gosh, we ain't getting too much closer to buying Paramount with you guys. I do. We fanatically watch movies over here. Like we can watch a movie over and over and over, never get tired of it. And one of those movies for me is Avengers: Infinity War. Um, Speaking of MCU movies, though, also on Disney Plus this week, I finally got to see the Marvels. And you know what? It was not okay, let's be real now. It's not a top 20. It's not in the top 20 of MCU movies. However, was it a bad movie? If there's a movie with limited stakes, but it does expand on the ongoing story because we got to know about those quantum bands. We got to know where Captain Marvel was during this 30-year span that she had been MIA. We got to know an awful lot of background on what happened in the MCU, and then also some implications for the future in post-credit scenes. And it was a good movie. It was just a feel good little kind of more or less. I would look at it as a family movie. And I can't say like I'm gonna continuously watch it. I'm not gonna ever memorize every word to the Marvels like I have Avengers Infinity War and also Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I know that one pretty well too. I'm not gonna be like that with the Marvels. Did I enjoy the movie? Yeah, it was enjoyable. I may watch it again in the future, I may not, but it didn't take away from the experience of watching it. And again, I know that a lot of the backlash that these movies get are from segments who are not as uh open to diversity in their superhero movies. They don't want to see a woman-led superhero movie with a woman villain, and they feel like it's taking something away from them personally. I get it, y'all. You're a little fragile. I think that was part of why the Eternals did so dismally. I'm not saying that the Eternals was a top 10 movie. I loved the Eternals though. I loved what they did. It took chances, the same kinds of chances that the Marvels took, but because they have complete women teams or a woman director, I think things went bad because of that. And if you disagree, let me know in the chat. I am welcome to hearing other opinions. Let me see. David says as much of oh, wait a minute. I skipped one. Wingray says, I don't think he could do 80%. He might know the most from Galaxy Quest if he had to guess. Now, David said, as much of a film junkie as he is, he don't think he can quote a whole film correctly. Maybe Big Lebowski. Good one. Good one. Clarence is saying not top 20 MCU for the Marvels, but not a bad movie. And I agree with that. Wingray still hasn't seen it. He thought it looked like a fun premise. It was. It was a lot of fun. And the family, the Khan family steals the show in a lot of scenes. Again, it's on Disney Plus now. So if you want to watch it and you have Disney Plus, have at it. Wingray says he hasn't hated any Marvel movie. Eternals and Dark World he probably enjoyed the least, but he's still glad he saw them. Dark World and The Incredible Hulk were the two that I liked probably the least. Yeah, I think so. I think I put those at the bottom. I didn't like those as much. And honestly, Thor: The Dark World is growing on me a little bit more simply because they made it a little more important when we got to Avengers Endgame. But as far as my favorite movies, neither one of those will be my favorite MCU movie. What else? Oh, we had a little award show this week, and look, um, and I agree. Clarence. Eternals deserves a sequel. And Eternals has been in the news because Kumail Nanjiani, hopefully I'm saying his name right, he has said in a recent interview that he had to get like mental health treatment after the reception of Eternals because he thought that movie would have done so much better. And again, I think in years to come, people are going to realize that this is the movie that so many people asked for. And when they got the movie, they're like, we don't want this movie. And I'm saying that they asked for it because they wanted to stray away from the comedy, give it a big epic look, the Eternals was beautifully shot. While it was not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, it was, to me, a good entry, and it was just different enough to divide the fandom in another way. I honestly think that it was just misunderstood. It's just a misunderstood film, but it was beautifully shot. Such a pretty movie. Wingray says he feels bad for Kumail Nanjiani. He got superhuman ripped for almost no reason in that movie. Yeah, they didn't want him to get ripped, but he heard that he was in an MCU movie and he poured himself into the role. David says he hasn't seen Dark World and The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk that I saw had Edward Norton. Yes, there isn't a remake. That is the one. I didn't like that one with Edward Norton. I didn't like it. Oh, and David is saying he saw it. So yeah, and yeah. So speaking, since we are still talking a little bit about Backlash before we get into the Saturn Awards, and thank you, Marge, for reminding me that the Saturn Awards was on at the exact same time as the Grammys. Now, spoiler alert, I didn't watch either award show. I did follow what was going on in the Grammys a little bit more than what I did in the Saturns until Marge reminded me that the Saturns was doing its thing that day. Star Trek had a big night at the Saturn Awards. They had a huge night. Now, out of, I think it was 7 nominations, Picard walked away with 4, if I'm right. Let me look. Let me go back and look. Make sure I'm saying. Yep, they had 7 total nominations in 5 categories and came away with 4 wins. Now, one of those 4 was Best Science Fiction Television Series. And it beat Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Andor, Foundation, The Mandalorian, and Silo. Now, I know that Star Trek Picard season 3 was excellent. It had to beat out some powerhouses in the sci-fi genre to take that award. So congratulations to Star Trek Picard for taking that. We also saw them take Best Actor in a Sci-Fi Series, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and then the lone award that went to Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is confusing to me that it was only one award for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. The lone award went to Paul Wesley as Best Guest Performance. So we got that, and the Lifetime Achievement Award went to the cast of Star Trek The Next Generation, and it was presented by one Kevin Feige, who was wearing a Wolverine and Deadpool hat, which further leads to credence to the rumor that we will be seeing a trailer for I hope so, for Deadpool 3 in the Super Bowl. Pick you guys' comments up. Let me see. There was a fake Jedi. Say, it was ho hum. Oh, talking about the Hulk. I didn't. Yeah, it was alright, but it wasn't great to me. I got to put my glasses back on because I can't see again. Wingray says that he was more forgiving, and I remember that part, but I don't remember anything else. He was more forgiving of the Hulk because it was so early on. Yeah, and was trying to do its own thing. I agree with that. They probably didn't know what they were building to when it started. They didn't know what they were going to end up with, and how many movies down the line there would be. So yeah. Clarence said that he loved the Ed Norton Hulk. Throwback to Bixby in tone. It did have a bit of the Bill Bixby effect on it. And we see Lou Ferrigno in that movie as well. Wingray says, is there no award for best musical episode in a sci-fi show? Once this thing catches on, which means that all the other Star Trek shows start putting in musical episodes, I think we will see best sci-fi musical episode. David says, I like Edward Norton's work. I think he kind of phoned the Hulk in. Okay. And I like his work. I think he was the person who reworked most of the script because that's how Edward Norton works. He wants to be in control of the dialogue. And because of the stature of him in Hollywood, you kind of let him do what he wants to do. And I don't know if that is affecting my perception of the movie. Like I kind of halfway want to see what it would have been without his input, but at the same time, it's not like it's a terrible movie. It just wasn't my favorite. Yeah. Lou was in both Hulk movies. He was the Stan Lee cameo, right? Bill Bixby Hulk, that goes way back. Yep, you remember that? Doom, 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 doom. Yep, you hear that music and you know, oh gosh, he about to start put his little bag on his shoulder and start hitchhiking again. Yeah, I used to love that. Lou had a cameo or something. Yeah. They also worked Lou's voice into the growl of the Hulk before he became smart because he stopped all that growling. He only growled when he was forced to, when he became smart. So Star Trek, congratulations. I am so happy that Picard and to some extent Strange New Worlds got the recognition that it deserves. And hopefully we will see more entries in these types of award shows and others. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking Emmys. I'm talking all of that. Let's speak that into existence. So next, speaking of Star Trek, Nicolas Cage continues to say, hey, Star Trek, I'm still here. I'm still here. So Nicolas Cage made it very well known in 2023 that if he had a choice, he would not do Star Wars, he would do Star Trek. He is a Star Trek type of guy. Now, he has also went on to say that there has been some talk from Paramount about him playing a role in a future Star Trek movie, which if Nicolas Cage wants a role in Star Trek, you should give him a role in Star Trek, especially right now. He's hot. He's just like Michelle Yeoh. He's hot right now. He's been hot. I've always loved Nick Cage. But right now, he's hot. You strike while the iron is hot, Paramount. But anywho, he wants to be on the Enterprise. He says he sees himself on the bridge. So if you were casting and you had to find a role for Nicolas Cage, what type of role would you like to see him play in a Trek movie? Let me know in the chat. I'm saying he wants to be on the Enterprise. Put him on the Enterprise. He can't be the captain. We know that. We've already got a captain, right? So find something for him to do on the bridge of the Enterprise. Let him have his moment, but don't make it a throwaway role. Don't put him on the bridge and then Star Trek Discovery him. Put him on the bridge and give him something to do and work with the talent that would be available to you. And Nicolas Cage is an immense talent. So I'm gonna come over here and see if you guys have any thoughts on what you'd want to see Nick Cage do in Star Trek. Let's go. So when Grace made 2 videos on this a year ago, he was hoping this news would make them pop, but no, no. I don't know what. Well, I guess they waiting on somebody to buy them. Like y'all said, y'all telling me to calm myself, Tasha. They're gonna start making these announcements when they know what the future is for Paramount, I suppose. So we're gonna be a little bit patient. I'm gonna give them a little bit of grace. Marge said Nick Cage will be a good rogue captain. I think, look, whatever Nick Cage wants to do, let him do. But yes, he would. If you want to have him turn heel at some point in the movie, we saw him um years ago, decades ago, face off when he had to go between playing his character in the movie and then the character of John Travolta's character. He had to switch. I don't know how to explain it. Y'all, if you've seen Face Off, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Fantastic job drifting between two characters for both actors. Both actors. Kelvin versus Gary Mitchell, that would be fantastic. I wouldn't mind that. Clarence says he's game for Nick Cage. Make him a captain in one of those movie projects. Yeah. But he really said, I want to be on the Enterprise. Also, Zoe Saldana is saying she has unfinished business in Star Trek. She says she is game. I know I saw this. She said, I'm game for one last ride. So if this is us saying if there won't be any more of these Kelvinverse movies, let's send them out with a bang. Make it a banger, banger, banger. I know that the last the entire three movies in the Kelvinverse have had mixed reception. I think the reception got better as time went. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nicolas Cage would make a great Spock. I mean, if they had to recast Spock, I could see it. I could see it. I think that if we're talking about going into the Kelvinverse, we got a Spock, and that is Zachary Quinto. And I like him in the role. I really do. I think we should find something, anything that would flex Nicolas Cage's muscles and also make him play against his type. So for instance, like Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, he had to stretch another set of muscles. He didn't play the role of somebody who has the quirky comebacks and the sarcastic takes. He had to play a straight role, and look at the acclaim that it's giving or given him so far. Matter of fact, I think he is amongst the front runners for best supporting actor in the Oscars. So I honestly believe that, when you play somebody against what they typically would play, you get a very solid performance, especially when the actor is as talented as Robert Downey Jr. and Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is, again, case you forget, he is part of the Coppola family. So he has it's like in his DNA, to be great. Wingray says, I also thought he could be a good Captain Decker from the Doomsday Machine for the Kelvinverse. That would be another good place to put him. If they were to bring that or parts of that storyline, yeah, I could see it. Excuse me, y'all. And David said, I love Nick's work. I think he'd be great in almost any role. Yes. Decker. Everybody wants to see Decker now. I think we got a consensus, Decker. So yeah, so if you guys think of anything else you'd like to see him do in the Star Trek universe, please put it in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. Now we're going into the prepared statements. I got some prepared stuff for this. So we know that there has, again, I was speaking about big news from the streaming sector this week. And to me, you know what? I'm gonna reserve my final thoughts to the end of the presentation, but things got started, I think, and I know these conversations have probably been being had in the background for some time, but I honestly believe that we got an example of how something like this would work when on January 13th, Peacock hosted the first NFL playoff game to be exclusively streamed. Exclusively streamed. It was the AFC wildcard game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Now, the game was, again, only available on Peacock. unless you lived in one of the local television markets for either team. So if you wanted to watch this game, a wild card game, Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins, you had to watch it on Peacock. And that created a bit, I ain't gonna say a bit, that created a major stir. People were saying, how in the world would you do this during the playoffs? Well, they did it during the playoffs because, hello, this is the most, I guess, has the most implications about what's going to happen as far as the Super Bowl is concerned. These teams are vying for a spot to stay alive in the playoffs. Of course, you're gonna want to watch it, and to watch it, you're gonna have to come to Paramount. I'm sorry, you was gonna have to come to Peacock. That is what they wanted. That is what they got. Peacock, I think, paid $110 million for the rights to that game, and they made it back in spades because people subscribed, people watched. They had their viewership was like their highest for anything that they streamed on Peacock. So of course, this was an example of a science experiment kind of not gone awry. It is an experiment though, and that experiment showed that people will pay to watch their favorite sports. If they have to get another streaming service, they're gonna watch their favorite sports, and if it's their team, that much more. How many of us have held on to Paramount Plus simply because they wanted to watch football? So those are things that uh, these streaming services know they kind of hold you over a barrel because they have the rights to these games, they have the rights to these, and then they put out again documentaries, docuseries, uh, all these other things surrounding themselves with the sport, and it keeps you there for a little while. And that's what the name of the game is, I think. Is trying to not only get subscribers but retain subscribers. So how do we do that? Well, I'm keep saying Marvel, Warner Brothers Discovery, Fox, and Disney have put together this joint venture, this conglomerate, and they are teaming up to launch a new sports streaming service this fall. Think about what that means for football heads, right? Think about what that means for the World Series. Think about what that means for the beginning of basketball. It means a lot. It has a lot of implications. Now, what they haven't announced is details like pricing. Pricing is still being finalized. Now, the service is going to pull resources from these three media giants, and they also collectively own rights to many, many major sports leagues and events. So it's going to provide content on a non-exclusive basis to preserve linear TV feeds as well. So notable companies that were not involved include NBC Universal, Paramount Global. NBC Universal recently had success streaming an NFL game on Peacock. Like I said earlier, they're not part of this conversation. No, you guys ain't. You're not invited. Paramount Global is not invited. Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers. Now, the service is going to likely have to charge a high price point to support the expensive rights that for these sporting events that are involved. This could test the limits of what streaming consumers are used to paying. That to me is a huge concern for the average consumer. It's going to stretch the limits of what we would typically pay, what we would be interested in paying for a service like this. Now, I'm going to get to that in just a minute. The joint venture is especially interesting for Disney, given its recent Hulu buyout, and it's also they also have developed a more robust ESPN streaming service. So it aligns with Disney's push into direct to consumer streaming. Now, Fox has the least amount of dog in the fight. It doesn't have to prop up a streaming service, and it just provides free ad supported content. And the only thing they have free ad-supported content on is Tubi at the moment. So they frame it as a innovation that provides more choice and value for sports fans. We're going to see more details emerge when Fox and Disney uh, finish up reporting their earnings. So I said all that to say this. Do we know who Fubu is? Or why do I keep calling that thing Fubu? Y'all know what Fubu was. For us, by us. It was a black clothing line back in the 90s, early aughts. It's not Fubu. It's Fubo. What does that mean for independent players like Fubo? Because honestly, what they're talking about has been done by Fubo. Now, let me see what the package Fubo TV package is costing nowadays. Let's see. You would think I would have had that I would have had that pulled up already, but I didn't. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I got to look to see how much Fubo was costing. So Fubo, this is where you can see you get the NFL network, you get FS1, ESPN, Space City. So you would assume that some of these channels will be getting pulled off of Fubo because they're going to put it on their own streaming platform, right? Their plan for your pro plan for Fubo is let's just share this with you. So you see $79.99 $79.99 a month for 189 channels. And if you want more, you go to the elite package with 256 channels, $89.99 a month. Now, Premiere, you can watch up to 10 screens at once. Wow. But anywho, you can watch 265 channels for $99.99 a month. And then they have the Latino package as well for $32.99 per month. So if you have Fubo, you were getting all of that. You were getting, your sports package. You still had other channels that you were getting. They call it, and I have to go back to my notes because I can't remember what they call it. They call that doop-de-doop-de-doop multi-channel video programming distributors. So that's what Fubo was, but it had an emphasis, or that's what it is. I'm speaking of it in past tense like it's already gone, but that's what it is. And it is again very centered on sports. It was centered on sports first, and then we know their direct or their biggest competitor would be YouTube TV. I think YouTube TV has a sports package as well, and they also do the multi-channel linear. I don't forgot what you call it. Shit, what the name of the multi-channel? I got to remember I can't multi-channel video programming. It was also a multi-channel video programming distributor. Pardon me, I got a little tongue-tied. So when this announcement was made by Disney and Fox and Warner Brothers Discovery, Fubo's stock dropped 23%. Now, Fubo issued a statement saying that the venture has undoubtedly captured their attention, but they also expressed a little skepticism that it's going to all work out. This might be wishful thinking because they know that it would amount to their erasure in relevance for Fubo if that consortium kind of worked out over there. So Fubo said the venture raises concerns about fair competition, which is why, of course, my thumbnail had Monopoly on it, because this is what we're starting to see. Now, Fubo stopped short of saying monopoly or antitrust, but the writing is on the wall. We can see it. We see what's happening. Okay, so um, it says the companies Warner Brothers Discovery, Disney, and Fox allegedly control 60 to 85% of sports content. It argues that this could hurt broader consumer interest, us. If you were paying $79.99 to Fubo a month, imagine what you'd be paying for Warner Brothers, Disney, and Fox for their streaming service to watch your favorite sports content. Fubo believes its own programming and product can't be duplicated by the venture. It portrays the venture as concerning for all consumers, not just itself. I tend to agree with Fubo in that. I keep calling them Fubo. The statement again doesn't say monopoly, doesn't say antitrust, but it aims to cast doubt on the competitive implications of the partners that are saying that they're going to join forces as early as this fall. Let me see. So analysts are saying that there is little antitrust risk from this non-exclusive venture sports content deals, but Fubo say, not so fast. I think it is because at some point, you're saying that it's not right now, but at some point when they corner the market on 85% of your sports content and then start hiking up the prices, look at what they've done with streaming services in general. When we started with Disney Plus, we knew it wasn't going to last, right? You knew you weren't going to continue to pay $6 a month for Disney Plus. But how many price hikes have we seen over the past 24 months, 12 months? So Netflix the same. Who else? Who else? Everybody has raised their prices. And again, some of it was to be expected. We expected some price hikes, especially given the fact that they're not making as much money as they thought with these streaming ventures. But at what point is it going to be like, damn, we might as well be paying cable. We might as well be paying for cable. We actually probably paying more for this. So yeah, I'm going to pick up a couple of comments. Gosh, where did I stop? Where did I stop? What did Nick Cage win the Saturn for? I can't remember. Nick Cage Saturn Award. He won. Gosh. And I'm trying to remember because I just read it earlier today. Yes, that's what I meant. Nicolas Cage won a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Film. Cage won for his portrayal of Count Dracula in Chris McKay's horror comedy Renfield. Couldn't remember. Clarence, I'm picking up the ones that are related to what we were just talking about, though. Okay, y'all. There have been so many over-the-air replacements that I've lost count. I've heard of it, though. I don't know what that means. Apple has an exclusivity play in sports too with college football. Sports is definitely where the money is. Ads are built into the model, right? Absolutely. And you will pay for the service, but still get ads. You're gonna pay exactly because there's ad breaks, right? They're already built in. Why is this concerning to me? Why am I looking at this as a bad thing? It could be a game changer in a good way, right? Um, it could create more just innovative, diverse, high quality content along with your sports. So if you are like to immerse yourself in sports and sports documentaries, TV, movies, then we're talking this is the libraries and catalogs of these three media um, juggernauts would be very, very enticing. Um, Another big win could be the shared expertise. Each of the companies have their own unique strengths. Disney's got this touch with family friendly content. WB has their epic storytelling, and Fox has edge, I guess, innovation. So it's like you can have some groundbreaking collaborations in something like this, as far as, and then put a sports spin on it as far as that is concerned. And it could potentially, they would be able to create content more efficiently. And that could translate to a wider range of content without breaking the bank. But do we really think that's going to happen? Do we really think that because the three media conglomerates get together and have cost saving because they're all working together, do we think that it's going to work out for us in the same way? They're taking away the opportunities for you to share these passwords, right? No. You don't talk about password sharing. So you can't share passwords. So if you want this ish, you're going to have to buy it, right? And then they could just continue to up the price on us. It will be like little frogs sitting in a pot of water, and you gradually start turning the water up. Frog in there just swimming, don't realize it's burning. And that and that's what would happen to us. We would boil. So major concern for me is the potential for a monopoly in the streaming landscape, because that's where it starts. It starts with sports, and then who knows where it goes next. Right now, we seem a little free. We can pick and choose the things that we want. We can a la carte our perfect streaming diet. But what happens when these types of collaborations become the norm? They're going to limit competition. Our choices become fewer and fewer, and then they don't have to be as innovative as they started off, because it gives them too much control over what we watch and how much we pay for it. Also, it raises questions about content diversity. With fewer major players, there's a risk of homogenized content landscape where diverse voices might struggle to find a platform. This could impact a variety of stories and perspective available to us, the audience. And that is very important to me. And I'm not just I'm not just talking about Black voices. It can be women's voices, it could be Latino voices. We need to keep the door open for smaller players to be heard, and smaller players in the industry like Fubo, a streaming powerhouse formed by these media giants, could overshadow or even absorb smaller streaming services, making it harder for new and independent voices again to pop out, to thrive. It can have a direct impact again on our pockets. If it means less competition, it's going to lead to higher prices at some point. If there's a single dominant entity in the game, they have more control over subscription costs. We might find ourselves shelling out more content to watch the content that we love. Or I'm sorry, selling out more money to watch the content that we love. And that's what we need to be trying to avoid. That's what we need to be trying to avoid. Let's see. David says his birthday often fell on Super Bowl, and it was always a drag. Even my mom would watch the game and let me stew. I'm sorry about that. I know how it is, because my birthday is January 2nd. So my birthday is absorbed into the holidays. My birthday is absorbed into the bowl games. Has always been. I'm overshadowed. I never get much for my birthday because, oh, we just had Christmas. Oh, we still catching up from this. Oh, we got to have the bowl parties. And by bowl, I'm talking college bowls, your Rose Bowls, and the such. So I understand completely how you feel. If my birthday would have fallen on Super Bowl, I probably would have been happy. I uh, was a huge. I still love football. I'm kind of having a falling out with football because of some things, but I still love it. And I will still watch the big games. And I did watch a few of the playoff games, especially when things start getting down to the wire. I could not wait to see how things would end up. And I will be watching the Super Bowl. Yes, I will. As I say, it starts with Taylor Swift for president 2024. You know, she might not be a bad choice. Look, and I know that I'm talking about monopolies and all of this stuff, and it was things that let me make sure I said what I had to say. Yeah, what does it mean for us? This is where um you said Taylor Swift president made me think about the stuff that was coming out yesterday. Was it yesterday? Well, say within the last couple of days. Number one, the special counsel that was looking into President Biden's taking home of these classified documents says, oh, we're not going to pursue any charges against him because, in essence, and they didn't say these words, but in essence, they were like, we're not going to press any charges against him because he's senile. Now, you already know that they've been saying this about Biden this entire presidency. Oh, he's too old. He's senile. He's losing his mind. He's confused. Then you have on the other side of things, uh, his what we're thinking is the forerunner for the Republican candidacy is kind of fighting this Supreme Court thing because people want to keep him off the ballot. It's looking like that's going to go in his favor. But when he speaks about it, he's getting confused. So now we got two confused candidates. That's who we're gonna choose from. We're gonna choose from these two confused candidates. And then in the meantime, Tucker Carlson goes out and he interviews Vladimir Putin. Was that last night or night before? I think it might have been the night before. However, it looks. Putin played Carlson, in my opinion, like a puppet. Now, I haven't watched the entire thing. I'm probably not going to watch the entire thing, but I have caught clips and I have read excerpts. And in these excerpts, it seems like Vladimir Putin, because he is an intelligent, you got to give it to him. He's smart, he's cunning, he's crafty. He used to be an intelligence agent himself. He knows how to play with minds. And I think he had Tucker Carlson all wound up. I really, really do. Just the things that he did to distract him, the things that he did, and how he would just not just answer a question, he would expound. He would start into a lecture, and it gets to the point where Tucker Carlson got enamored in that. He looks very congenial. When I say this, I mean he doesn't look like an evil person. I don't know that Vladimir Putin is inherently evil, but they've said he's done some evil-ish, right? So, but he looks so likable. And I'm not kidding. In this interview, when he's sitting and talking and chatting and smiling, he looks like a likable guy, but he is so freaking smart. And I think he's playing. I think he played Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson did get one question in, and I don't know if this was staged to look like it was just an off the cuff question, or if he really asked this question off the cuff. But I liked the question. He asked Putin if he would allow him to take that one journalist that is in Russia and being imprisoned in Russia for quote unquote being a spy. Tucker Carlson asked, "Can I take him home when I go back on Thursday to the U.S.? Can I bring him back with me?" He asked that question. Of course, um, Vladimir Putin, if he was caught by surprise with the question, he didn't bat an eye. He answered this question almost as diplomatically as you could expect someone to be asked or to answer a question like that if he was caught by surprise by it. But again, Tucker Carlson did this sit down with Vladimir Putin. I think it was a 2-hour sit down, and he's basically being accused of being a puppet for Putin, where Putin had an opportunity to spread his propaganda. But one of the things I think it is very important as well is if you don't know what other people are saying, if you don't know what Putin says, then how do you form an opinion? Now, of course, we have to assume that sprinkled in with a lot of the truths that he was telling, that there will be some fibs, some whoppers, but to get an opportunity to sit down, have a conversation, even though the conversation was coming from Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson does really and truly like Vladimir Putin. He is, I'm not going to say a hero, but he is very intrigued by Putin. So, you're kind of a fan already. Were there questions, tougher questions that could have been asked? Maybe I'll have to watch it. Maybe I have to watch it to see. But anyway, Marge, wait a minute. I gotta go up. Wingray says she's a bit too busy to be president. Taylor Swift is. And he also says she's only 34. Got to be 35 to be president. Can she start running at 34 if she's 35 by the time she is sworn in? I mean, we find the loopholes for every damn thing else. Why not find a loophole for that, right? January people are the best. Thank you. Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Marge said, I doubt that the best of us could not keep up with Biden's schedule physically and mentally. Look, I know Biden probably can, as far as what he has to remember day to day, unless somebody is just really covering for him, he can run circles around me as far as the stuff that he has to know on a whim. If I had time to look things up, then I might be able to hang. If I got preparation time, just like I'm Batman, if I got preparation time, then I might be able to keep up with him. But he would definitely beat my ass if it's just coming off the cuff with stuff. David said we had 2 actors. Why not a singer? Why not? Who's to say that she couldn't do it? Clarence says he needs to watch that interview. Of course, Tucker Carlson is, I think it's exclusively on X. So yeah, that's where you'll watch it. Did I see his press conference yesterday? He was articulate. He made a gaffe with his words. He said he mixed up the president of Mexico with the president of Egypt. I think that's something that can happen. The man is 80 something years old, right? He's 80, 81 years old. Of course, you're good. And he has overcome a stuttering issue. So you catch yourself sometimes saying the wrong thing and they're going to pounce. And that's exactly what happened after that press conference. He said, the president of Egypt instead of the president of Mexico, and everybody pounced. 25th Amendment, we need to remove them. The same thing, but Trump did the same thing. It was actually even more damning for him because he misspoke and he called January 6th an insurrection. He was like, after the insurrection, such and such happened, when he has been saying for literal years now that there was no insurrection, that the protests were peaceful. He slipped up and called it an insurrection and then tried to clean it up later by saying, oh, but Nancy Pelosi started the insurrection. So, I mean, if you're looking at it like that, neither one of them are as sharp as they used to be. We got some choices to make, but neither one of these choices are the sharpest knife in the drawer right now. And I'm just being honest. Now, again, got a choice and you got to do this whole lesser of two evils thing. Well, I'm pretty sure you can figure where I would go. You do what you do. I'm not trying to push nobody in no direction or the other, but you know where I would have to go. If you know me, Biden is a true statesman. He is very, this is his game. You know, politics has been his game for years. This is his arena, So, yes, he's a statesman. He knows how to present himself. He knows how to project himself. He knows how to articulate things in a very diplomatic manner to me. And she said, also, Carlson is not a journalist. He is Trump's puppet. I wouldn't call him a journalist at this point. He's more of an influencer. He's like your favorite he's like your favorite YouTuber. I don't know if that's me, but whoever your favorite YouTuber that is not a professional at what they do, but they have opinions and they do commentary and the such, sit down interviews, the such, that is what Tucker Carlson is to me. In fact, there was a clip that I watched from the interview, and I know we've gone off on a tangent, y'all. I know. There was a clip that I watched from the interview where Vladimir Putin asked Tucker Carlson, are we sitting down to have a interview? Are we doing a talk show? Or are you trying to have a serious conversation? And I thought to myself, that was another way of kind of putting Tucker Carlson in his place. He's like, because, basically saying, you're a talk show host. So are we doing a talk show or are we having a serious conversation? Then he let him know that he had done his homework on him. Oh, Vladimir Putin, again, very smart. I will not take that from him. He said, he was talking about our country, the United States, is not run by the president. He said, your country is run by the CIA. Then he said, I know that you used to want to be a part of the CIA, but what do I know? A job is a job. This is what Vladimir Putin said to Tucker Carlson. And he also let him know, hey, I know that your background is in history, so I'm going to give you a little history on Russia. And he went off on a probably 15, 20-minute tangent about some of Russia's history. I don't usually tell people to watch Tucker Carlson, but watch it. I'm going to have to watch the whole thing because some of the stuff that I saw, it made me realize how manipulative Putin is, but also how very good he is at it. How very good he is at it. I am up on the Oprah backlash as well. Clarence, look. Monique. Now you look, and I know that everybody is probably feeling some type of way because everybody goes on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast now to just unload on him. And this week it was Monique. And Monique went on there and she has repeated a lot of the claims that she had said in the past. In fact, her complaints have been going on for the better part of a decade. But she is still voicing her complaints because she feels like she's been blacklisted by Hollywood, blackballed by Hollywood because of her resistance to do promos and stuff for Precious all the way back then. So this is how far back we talking now. We're not even talking about more recent things, anything recent. We're still talking about the same old ish. So the difference is that Shannon Sharp sat down and really listened to her. She talked for, I believe, 3 hours with him, and she got a lot of stuff off her chest. And um, when she brings that stuff up, it brings Oprah, it brings Tyler Perry, it brings Kevin Hart, it brings DL Hewley, it brings Steve Harvey. All of these names that Cat Williams had already kind of mentioned in his sit down interview. All of that stuff comes back with Monique. So now the conversation is not only continuing, it's getting louder because Monique has she stoked that fire again. And am I tired of hearing the same complaints? Yes. Am I saying her complaints are invalid? No, I am not. Her complaints are valid, but she's broached those complaints. Now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do moving forward? And I'm asking that because she sat on Club Shay Shay and had this conversation for 3 hours. And he made, I'm pretty sure, probably five. He's probably looking at least right now 5 figures off of that interview. I don't know how many views it has gotten as of yet. Let me take a look and see how many views is Club Shay Shay's sit down with Monique at right now. 7 million views, 7.1 million views on YouTube for him. So probably earned at least in the 5 figures, at the absolute least in the 5 figures for this interview. And she could have sat down and had this conversation on her own podcast. She could build a platform just like Shannon Sharpe is. Instead, we're continuously complaining about, oh, they won't give me a seat at the table anymore. Well, now, you're blacklisted, you feel like you're blacklisted, then now you got to make your own seat. It's sad if they're blackballing her because of something that she did that they felt like was anti-Hollywood, then Hollywood will probably not bring you back with open arms. They're not going to embrace you like that again. But there are avenues to do your own thing now, and you can make just as much or more with your own thing. So that's where I feel with that. And again, is hating Oprah going to make her less of a billionaire? No, she's a billionaire. She's a billionaire. So keeping her name in your mouth is not the flex that you think it is. Showing them better, showing them that you can do better without them is the flex to me. And one step in that direction is she'll be going on tour with Cat Williams and Kevin Hart's wife. Kevin Hart's ex-wife is also going on tour with Cat Williams. So now you got Cat Williams, you got Kevin Hart's ex-wife, and then you got Monique. So this is going to be a messy tour. I almost wish I had money and the mental bandwidth to withstand the crowds that that will be there to go see it, because Lord have mercy, it's going to be something. So David says he's been to Russia and he lives with Russians currently. Putin is not good, and I agree. But then if we have an American who goes someplace else and talks to the people of that area, what story could we tell as a typical normal American about life in America that wouldn't look so great? Now, I ain't trying to trade this shit for nothing. I'm not going to no communist country, authoritarian regimes, or I'm not doing any of that. No, I'm not. I am not. But I'm saying we can go there and be like, y'all got free health care. We don't. You guys don't have to pay uh uh what is it, a third of your wages for housing. We do, with more than a third of your wages. Almost, just a simple place. We can have complaints too. And when we go places, and people come over here, they leave with a different reception. I'm not saying Putin is a good person. I'm never, ever, ever gonna say that. I don't know the man. All I know is the reputation. And I would love to sit down with people who have had their boots on the ground and who knows of the atrocities that he commits. We know of what he does to journalists and religious leaders and the such. How does the average Russian citizen feel about living in Russia? I have, yeah, I want to know what the typical life of a Russian is, and how many of them support Putin and how many of them don't. I believe he's not good though. I believe that 100%. Wingray said someone should interview Steven Seagal. He's been living in Russia for a year to help them. Steven Seagal, again, I don't know. I don't know if I trust his his judgment. Oh, see you later, Marge. Um, Claire said he's off topic again. No, no worries, because I was gonna hit it eventually. Um, Steven Seagal and Putin are cut from the same cloth. Ploa Pokniet. Ploa Pokniet. Russian for bad smell. Shots fired. Oh, um, David said he made a mistake and said El Sisi was president of Mexico, but he was definitely talking about a president of Egypt and knew it. It was a verbal typo. I knew they were going to jump on him today. They did. They got all over it. Shay Shay, Club Shay Shay has blown up in the last month. Yes. And it's just going to continue because more messy people are going to want to be more messy people going to want to go sit on that couch and sip on that cognac. Shoot. He is the new Oprah. Yes. Thank you, Dreamwalker, for stopping in and liking the video, and have a great day at work. I appreciate you. What else was I going to say? And then we had Jonathan Majors. He popped back up last night too. Did y'all see that? It ain't looking good. So do you guys remember that he recently did a sit down, ill-advised sit down with Good Morning America, and he started doubling down on how he found his Coretta and Megan Good, and he also said that he believes that he will definitely be back in Hollywood. And then last night, two more women have come out and said that, and these are named women, these are not anonymous women. Two more named victims, quote unquote, alleged. Okay, yeah, that's the word I should have said. Two more alleged victims of Jonathan Majors' abusive behavior have come forth and said that he is just as much as the monster as this young lady, Grace Jabbari, said he was. Not to mention some of the stagehands on Lovecraft Country have also come out and said that he was very abusive uh, and disrespectful towards women staff. Now, one of his excuses is, "Hey, I'm a method actor," and I put some credence in that. Yeah, he might be a method actor. He seems like type of person who gets totally immersed in his roles. If you a method actor and your role may cause you to be abusive to the people that you love, go ahead on get you a hotel room, boo. Or put some separation between you and your loved ones so nobody has to catch the backlash of your method acting. You're staying in character even when you're at the crib. That to me is not an excuse to mistreat people. So it ain't looking good. If you ask me, we probably have seen our last Jonathan Majors movie. Yeah, whatever it was, whatever the last one you saw, that was it. Hang it up. I don't think he'll be back. I don't think it's you just can't keep coming back with every couple of months somebody else may come out and say, "Yeah, you are abusive. You did do these things." Because if that's the case, then you're not owning it. It's like you're not going to change. So womp 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 womp. Yep. Oh, you said the healthcare in Russia is not so good. Ooh, shoot, that's good. That's not good to hear because everybody, they do have healthcare provided and provided education and such. But it's not any good. If it ain't no good, then so be it. So be it. That's not, you know. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? I know I wanted to talk about Jonathan Majors. I did want to talk about Club Shay Shay. I did say going to Russia, not the healthcare. um yeah. I did want to talk about Tucker. We did talk about that. Was there anything else that I wanted to touch on? Who y'all got for the Super Bowl? If anybody is a football fan or American football, by the way, who you got for the Super Bowl? Like I said at the top, I think it's going to be KC. And I am not a oh, Discovery premiere. Thank you, Win Grace. Was it April 4th? Was it April 4th for season 5 of Discovery? I think it was. I think it was. Oh, Clarence is going the opposite way. He's going 49ers. We're gonna see, sir. We're gonna see. Uh so yeah, there was something else about Discovery. Oh, there's gonna be a change, a dignified change to Saru's character. I don't know what it is because I didn't read the article. So let's just go over that together, shall we? Let's see what they were talking about. Saru's character is going to undergo a dignified change in a sentimental final season of Star Trek Discovery. So let's share the screen. Um, before I go to have my lunch. Sentimental final season of Star Trek Discovery. I'm just now reading this. I haven't read it, so we're reading it together. A Star Trek Discovery star, Doug Jones, was one of the presenters at Sunday's Saturn Awards. Trek Movie had a chance to speak to him on the red carpet about what's next for Saru in the show's upcoming 5th and final season, as well as his thoughts on possibly returning for the Starfleet Academy series. Have you come to grips with Discovery ending? Well, I kind of had to. I had no choice, right? There's a part of me that's melancholy that it's the 5th and final season. Nobody wants to hear final, but at the same time, I think in this day and age, to get 5 seasons is really good with television the way it is now. But the other part is a bit of relief. I was just talking about memorizing large blocks of science fiction dialogue. That's very difficult. And so I don't have to do that anymore. Oh, yay. And also the rubber bits. He said, I love Saru. He's a part of me now. But he also comes with a look that's glued on to me. And taking that off for the last time was like, oh, that's good. I don't have to wear that again. But then you did have to wear it again. Then so he says, okay, we came back. Yes, we did come back to do a short epilogue that'll be tacked on. I hate the word tacked on. I hate the words tacked on, but it'll be tacked on to the end of the last episode to give you some closure on the entire series. Question was, showrunner Michelle Paradise has talked about how season 5 has a pivot in tone to something more fun and adventurous. Did you feel that shift when shooting it? And Jones answered, yes, it was especially different for me too, as Saru. Saru has gone through so many changes throughout the entire series. My rank has changed. It's gone up, up, up. My title and position on the bridge or not the bridge, it's been all over the place. In season 5, even more changes are afoot for Saru, a very dignified change for him. I can't tell you what I'm going to be or do, but the tone for me personally, yes, it changed intensely. Also, this has a very sentimental vibe to it, more than the other seasons have, especially as we come to the end. And the synopsis for the first episode was released, and it makes mention of Saru getting a special offer. Jones answered, I get an offer for a position within Starfleet. And what will that be? Will I accept it? Those are questions you have to find out in that first episode. Or at least we know that we're going to get some kind of answers to something pivotal for Saru within the first episode. How many captains can you have on one ship? So Jones' answer is right. That was my personal dilemma. We have a Captain Burnham and we have a Captain First Officer. Is that the best use of captains within Starfleet? I don't think so. The question was, you said you are somewhat relieved, but they are making another show. Would you put the makeup on again for Starfleet Academy? Like, what if they wanted Professor Saru to show up? Jones answered, Starfleet Academy, I hear it's in our same timeline. And we assumed that. We assumed that. But now it seems like we're getting a little bit more confirmation. So that's the one show that he could cross over. I guess any of us could. Will we? I don't know what the writers have in mind, but I think Saru would have a lot to offer a class of kids, wouldn't he? With his wisdom and his instructional ways. He's been that way on the bridge of Starship Discovery anyway. It's interesting, as Saru had a mentoring relationship with Tilly, but then she left for the academy last season. But now she's back for season 5. So is he still mentoring him or her, or is she past that? And Jones says, well, she doesn't need me to be a mentor in that way. I think they still have a kind of father-daughter relationship anyway. It's very sweet. He's very proud of her, and she's coming to her own now. She doesn't need to lean on him as much as she did. Um, let's see. He talked about his tuxedo, talked about him looking mirror universes, and that's it for that. Okay. So I'm thinking something like Admiral or something maybe even bigger. If they have anything more that he could be, I'm thinking he's gonna grow. Yeah. It sounds like the academy is on the table, but are we going to get that answer in episode 1 of Discovery? I don't know. Oh, you say you took us along with you to do lottery. I hope we do bring you luck. I hope so. I hope so. Hey there, Angus. Commodore. When Gray said, did he say Federation or Starfleet? Oh, I closed the article. Why did I do that? I was just about to go back to see. Oh, my stomach is growling, y'all. I hope y'all can't hear it. Oh, let me go back and take a look at what he said. He said, in season 5, even more changes are afoot for Saru, a very dignified change for him. He didn't say. He said, yes, he said, I get an offer for a position within Starfleet. That's what he said. He did say Starfleet. So, what will that be? Will he accept it? He gets an offer, right? I wonder if that means, yeah, will he accept the offer? He doesn't have to, right? He can say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do that." Oh, guys, I'm hungry. I'm gonna have to end this one just a little early to get something in my tummy because my stomach is really growling over here. It has been fun. I'm gonna try to be back. I'm try to keep a schedule or at least be kind of close. We'll either do a midweek or we'll do a weekly wrap up. We're gonna keep it kind of like this until maybe Discovery starts. I don't know. W- Just look for me at about this time because I can I can finagle things with the babies at about this time of the week. Enjoy your weekend, everyone, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Love you, miss you. Bye.